Hi, good afternoon, class. This is Anthony Cruz, your PE leader. Here, I bring something to you. I took a sample, one of the homework of your Math 160 class, and here I'm going to solve those problems so you can have the way to solve a different way or the same way as the professor did last time. The about functions. Function is the topic professor did last week, and you have some homework, some quizzes. If you need some extra help with those topics, and here you have my email, you can email me. So I will solve those 10 questions, and I will show you how to solve it. Here those questions are about the main topic function. I have, for example, the first question, this was a homework, is find the domain of the function, and you have that function right here. So to find the domain of that function, you just have to know first. A easy way is to give some value to x, and then since you give some value to x, you will be able to know what are the point in the graph of the point you give to the coordinate point in the graph, the y-axis and in the x-axis. For example, if you give some value to x, you will be able to know which are the value to y. Here I can give whichever value I want. I used to give 3 or 4 value. This is okay to know how it's going the graph. So for example, I will choose -1 for x, then 0, and then 0, and then let me say 1, just 1. So since I have those values, I am able to find the value for y. How can I find it? You just have to plug the value you just give to x in the equation the professor provided to you. The equation is f of x. I will leave a empty parenthesis for the x because x have different value and I'm giving value to x. So here is a empty parenthesis for x plus 7. So here my first value for x is -1. You can choose whichever value you want. So everywhere where is x, I will write -1. Here instead of the y, I will write -1, sorry. So there was no more x, it is only 1 minus 1. Continue with this solution. 8, remember order operation, multiplication is first. 8 times -1 is equal to, this is -8, and then plus the same 7. -8 plus 7. How much is this? This is equal to -1. So you got -1. Yeah, -1. You got your first value for y. This is the value for y because remember, f of x means y is the same as a y. So f of x, in this case f of -1 was equal to -1. Why? Because instead of x, I will plug -1. When I plug -1 in the original equation, which is here, instead of x, first order operation, which is multiplication. So 8 times -1 will be -8, and then plus 7, which when you have different signs, you make subtraction. 8 minus 7 is 1, and you will keep the sign of the greater number, which is -8. So we will be -1. This is your first value for y. Here you will write -1, -1, -1. Second, the same, but with, in this case I will use 0. I already used -1, now I will use 0. So same f of, in this case will be 0. I will leave the empty parentheses to write it in different color. So here the original equation, empty parentheses for x, then plus 7. This is equal to what? Here, in this case, I'm working with 0. So first other operation, which is 8 times 0. How much is 8 times 0? 8 times 0 is 0. And then plus 7. 0 plus 7 is equal to 0. Positive 0, right? So this is the number. I will write 7 in here, in the value, the second value for y. Then f of empty parentheses 8. I used to write empty parentheses first. You can write it directly, straight. So the value here I'm working with 1. Here will be 1, and here will be 1, right? So first of the operation, when I multiply 1 times 8, both positive will give me positive 8 plus the 7. Now I will get 15. 8 plus 7, this is 15. So this is the third value. Since you have those three values, those are called coordinate points because you have x and you have y. So you can build now the graph. Remember, put in black here. Here, this is my y cross, and this is my x. You know that here is minus y, and here is minus x. So since I have those points, I should see first. It is good to see which is the greater number for each value, for each axis. Here I can see that the greater number for the value of x is 1, so I will not need so many points for x, because this only 1. The greater coordinate point for x, is only 1, so I can write like 2 division. This is used for the graph. With 2 division is okay, where here will be -1 and here will be -2. Here will be 1, positive 1, and here will be positive 2. So in here, in the y-axis, I will need the greater number is 15, so I will need some more point for the y-axis. So when you have like number like this, 15 and greater than 50, greater than 10, you don't have to go one by one. You can go to build the axis. You can go, for example, I will make the division here like 3 division or 4 division. Let me erase it. Do it better. For example, I will do 1, 2, 3, and 4 division here. With those 4 division, I can write 1. Here I will go 4 by 4. That's what I was saying. You don't have to go one by one. You can go 4. And if you start with a number, this will be the difference between each space. So for example, 4 here, for the second space will be 8. The difference between those two space between those two numbers is 4, and should be 4, because you cannot write it like 4 and then 5 and then 10. No, you need to write same difference between number and number: 4, 8, 12, and 16. So this is a way the graph look like this, not like a different way. And here is the same difference. Here will be -4, right? Here will be -8, and like this. So now I will need to plug the numbers, my coordinate point. Here is the first coordinate, which is -1, -1, first coordinate point. Then the second is 0, 7, and the third one is 1, 15. So with those three coordinate points, I should know this will be how will be the graph. So first number is -1. I will go to -1 in my x-axis. Here is -1 here, right? And then to the left, and then -1 in the y-axis will be like here. Here, like here, will be my point. This is my first point. You know why? Because here is my -1, and then my -1 in the other, in the y-axis, is like here. So here is my first point. Since this is my first point, I will continue with my second point. The second point will be 0, 7. 0, 7. I will go to 0. 0 is in the x-axis, right? And then of 0, I will go with 7. 7 in the y-axis, and 7 is positive. So going up in the y-axis, vertical axis, right? I should know that 7 is from here. So the point, my second point, I will write it here: 0, 7. This is my second point. And here, this is my first point, which is -1, -1. Always remember, always x will go first, and then y will go second. So those are my first two coordinate points. And my third coordinate point is 1. I will go to 1 in here in the x-axis to the right, and then 15 to the top, going up onto almost onto 16. So the point will be here, 1 and 15 in the y-axis. So this is my third point, 1, 15. Since you have that, those are the 3 points. You can put it together, you can make a line through the 3 points. When you make the line, this is the line, and you know that this line will continue onto the infinity. So when you have the line, you should know, or you have to know, what is the domain. Remember the domain. To be able to find the domain, you have to look in the x-axis. As you looking in the x-axis here, you can see here that you will continue to the right, and as the function will not stop in any number, you will continue to infinity, to the right. And to the left, you will also continue to infinity, because there is no any stop in this graph. Here the professor is asking only for the domain, and the domain, infinity to the left, will be minus infinity, comma, infinity to the positive. And this is easy, because you see that the line is going to the right. This means infinity to the right is going to the right onto to infinity, and the same to the left is going to the left onto to infinity. There is nothing that stop this line, so it will be minus infinity and positive infinity, infinity to the left and infinity to the right. Here the professor is only asking for domain. If the professor in this same question asks for the range will be the same. This is the domain. The range will be the same. Why? Because you're going up also. You're also going up. The line is also going up, up, and up. This means infinity will be infinity to the top, and in the y-axis means top, right? Positive y-axis, and the same to infinity to the bottom, infinity to the negative y-axis. But the professor here is only asking for the domain. So this is the question: infinity minus infinity, comma infinity, right here. This one. We continue with the second one, which says determine whatever the equation define y as a function of x. Y as a function of x. How you can say that? To y be a function of x, every input x, for every input x, there is exactly one, there should be exactly one output y. So if you insert x, whichever number in x, there should be a number in y, only one number. If this is true, you can say that the equation defines y as a function of x. So how can you know that? Here, this is the question: y is equal to x plus 8. If you can see here, whichever number you plug instead of x, for example, you have, I will leave the empty space for the x, as I did in the other one, the other question. So this is y, x, I will leave the empty space, plus 8. To y be a function of x, whichever number you plug inside here, to give you a number. Let me write some example, and you will see that whichever number you write here will give you a number. So that's the reason why. This y is a function of x. This is yes, but I will show you right now with negative number, with 0, and with positive number, how it will work. We give you a number. If I plug, for example, here, let me say -2, what will be the result? First, multiplication. 2 times -2 will give me -4, and then plus 8. How much is this? Different sign, there will be subtraction. I will keep the sign of the greater number, so it will be positive 5. So this is okay because it gives me a number. So the definition is working now. Let me plug, for example, 0. Those are different examples. And when I plug 0, I will get 2 times 0, which is 0, and then plus 8. Plus 8. Plus 8. How much is this? 0 plus 8 is 8, right? So I'm getting numbers. Let me see when I plug a positive number. Can I plug, let me say 3? First multiplication, 2 times 3 is 6, and then 6 plus 8. This is equal to what? This is 14, right? So I'm still getting numbers. Since I'm getting number, I can say that for every number you put in X, there will be a number in Y. That's the reason. That's the reason why in this equation is a function of X, and this is yes. Let me continue with the next one. And here we write sample 1, sample 2, and sample 3. Here, third question. Find the domain of the function. Same kind of question, but here it's a different thing. As here you have the square root, you have to be careful. Why? Because you know that you cannot have negative number under the square root. So how can I see which are those numbers in X that will give me a negative number under the square root? To be able to see that, you just have to make this equality. Which is equality? This one, the equality of all the thing under the square root, which is 4 minus x. Make this greater or equal than 0. And this makes sense, because if you don't want a negative number under the square root, you cannot have nothing greater than 0, because something greater than 0 will give you a negative number, right? Because now, but to do that, you need to first solve for x, because you're talking about x. And when you solve for x, you will see how you will get the limits of those numbers. There is a limit. Some students can see it since the beginning, but if you don't see, you make the equality. You make this equality first, that all the things are under the square root should be greater or equal than 0. Because if you have something less than 0, will be minus. That's the thing, and you don't want minus. Okay? If you plug something greater than 0, you will have minus. So you don't want minus. I will pass the x to the other side first. I used to do that. So 4 in here will be greater or equal. I will leave the sign as is. Here I will add in both sides x. So this is a way I can cancel here x with x, and in the other side, when I add in the other side, when I add plus x, I will remain with log x. I don't need to write the sign. If you want, you can write it. So I will remain with x in this side. So here says that x is less or equal than 4. So all the value of x should be equal or less than 4. If you want, you can rearrange. Put the x first, then flip the sign and write the 4. So x is less or equal than 4. You cannot have 5. You cannot have 6. only number equal or less than 4. So that's why the range, if you see, for example, in the domain, sorry, we're talking about the x-axis in this case. This is the x-axis. If I have 0 here, I have 4 here, I have -4 here, I can say that, for example, your value will be from here, including the 4, onto the infinity, negative infinity. So you can see that. So the answer will be from minus infinity, right? Because you're going to infinity, and when you're going to the left side, you know that is minus infinity, comma 4. But remember, as the 4 is included, you need to write this type of bracket here. So this is the answer, which is answer number, the first one, right here. This is easy. Just set the thing, all the thing on the square root equal to, in this case, greater or equal than 0, because you don't want things less than 0. Things less than 0 is the same as negative. So here, this is the answer. Let me continue with the question number 4. Question number 4 says, this is easy because here you only have to make the vertical line test. Use the vertical line test to determine whether the graph represents a function or not. When you have the graph and they're asking you if a function or not, you can know that only with the vertical test. Vertical test is a vertical line through the graph. So you have to write a vertical line in here. When you write the vertical line, what says if it is a function or not, it is that to be a function, the graph should touch only one point to be a function. But here, if you see, it's touching more than 1 point. It's touching 3 points. Up here, it's touching 3 point, 1, 2, and 3. Your answer will be no. This is not a function. This is not a function because since the vertical line test touch more than 1 point, it is not a function. Not function. This is the answer for this. No. We will say no here. And here, this is the answer. No. So let me continue with the next one. Here is another kind of question. Find the intervals over which the given function is increasing, decreasing, or constant. So here, the better thing is block number for x and build the graph y and x axis. So I will go faster with this. So block number for x and y. Give some number to x and you will be able to find the intersection in y. Which are those numbers? Let me try with we choose -2, 0, and then 1. So the value, to be able to find the value, remember, use the original equation, f of x, empty space, I will leave it like empty space. Then where is x, I will leave another empty space, and then plus 5. This is for the first one, for my first number, which is -2, -2. So here we got first multiplication, 2 times -2 is equal to -4. and then plus 5. How much is this? This should be equal to 1. First number, 1. Second number, the same process. I'm going a little bit faster here. The second number, empty space, then 2 times. This is the original equation, empty space for x, and then plus 5. Here, the number is 0, will be 0, 0. 2 times 0 is 0 plus 5. How much is this? This is 5, right? Because 5 plus 0 is 5. Third number, sorry, is 1. Empty space. 1, which is 2 times empty space for x. In this case is 1. 1 here, 1 here. Where you see x, you plug the number you're using. So here is 2 times 1 is 2 plus 5. How much is this? This is 7, right? So this is 7. That is the reason you have the other two numbers, 0, 2 minus 2, comma 1 is the first coordinate point, the second coordinate point is 0, 5, and then the third coordinate point is 1, 7. So with those 3 points, you can build the graph, and with the graph, you will know if you think where is increasing, where is decreasing, or where is constant. So I will build the graph here. Sorry for the graph. I'm getting all of the graph here and here. This is my x and this is my y. This is my y. So for the x, I will write 2 division, and here 2 more to the negative side. Here will be minus 2, minus 1. You know, in the middle is 0, right? Here 1 and here 2. Then I will make division here, 2 division more, 2 division more. For those, here I will divide the graph by let me say 3 by 3, then 6. Here will be minus 3 and then minus 6. So with those numbers I can build the graph. My first coordinate point, write another color, is in minus 2 to the left side. This is x minus 2, and then with 1 in the positive y side. So one more up, like in here, with minus 2. This is my first coordinate point. Here is minus 2, comma 1, first coordinate point. Then my second coordinate point is 0. I don't have to move nothing, because it's 0 in the x-axis, and then in the y-axis will be 5. So 5 positive with 5 to the top, going to the top, like in here, use before the 6. This is my second coordinate point, 0, 5. And then my third coordinate point is 1 in the x-axis. 1, I will move 1 to the right, and then 7 positive in the y-axis. The other one was in the x-axis, now in the y-axis. Up until 7, like in here. 7 is used after the 6. So if you see here, you can see that this is a straight line. straight line. So since it's a straight line, now you're able to see if it's increasing, decreasing, or constant. Since you see that, you have to know that all the graph in math are written from left to right. The graph are written from left to right. You see that the line is going up, 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 and up. That means that this graph is increasing because it's going up, increasing. So this is the answer. Increasing, which is now increasing to which size? Is increasing from minus infinity, increasing from minus infinity to positive infinity, right? Because it's coming from the minus infinity, because there is no stop in the infinity, and there is no a stop to the right, which is positive infinity. So as there is no stop to the minus infinity and there is no stop to the positive infinity, it will be minus infinity, comma, positive infinity. Positive infinity. So this is the whole answer, which is increasing here, right here, this answer. We continue with the next one. Next one says determine whether the given function is even, odd, or neither. Remember, there are some parameters to see or to say when it's even or odd. And if you remember, the parameter for this, you need to block a minus. You need to block a minus value inside you need to set x as minus, and when you set x as minus, if your result is positive, this is even. When you set x as minus and your result is minus the function, like negative, this is odd. Let me see what is this one. So when I block value in the same function, right, I will block, instead of positive x from the equation, I will write negative x. If I got a positive function like f of x, like the beginning, I can say that this is even. But if I get a negative function, this will be odd. So let me plot the negative value. Here the equation is 4. Now instead of positive x, I will have negative x, because this is the thing. This is the test, plus 3. When I solve for this, at the end, I will get something like this. Remember, 4, when you make the power of 2 to a negative number, what will you have? What will you get? You will get positive, because, for example, in this case is minus x times, remember the powers mean multiply the number of times the power says, so it will be minus x. If you see, this is equal to x, so because minus times minus will be positive, and then the square will go here. So that's why the answer for this, minus x, to the power of 2 will be x squared plus 3. If you see, you remain with the same positive equation. So that means that your result was positive, and this also means that your equation is even. This is the answer for your equation, which is right here. If you got negative, like in here, for example, negative f of x, your result, your equation will be O. This is simple. Let me continue with the next one. Here says evaluate the expression. This is multiplication, I think. Yeah, this is multiplication. F times g of minus 2 and f of x is equal to this, then g of x is equal to this. So the only thing you have to do here is first solve for each one. You know that they are giving you the minus 2. This is the value of x. Since you plug the value of x in each x, you will be able to find this number, and then in the other equation plug the value of x, which is the same, minus 2, you will be able to find the number. Since you find the number, you solve, and then here's a multiplication. This is multiplication, and when you multiply, the only thing is multiply, and this will be the answer. Let me see what is the answer, because there is two types. I think this is multiplication. If this is no multiplication, this will be composite. If there is composite, this is another kind of question, but we can solve it. I think this is composite. Yes, this is composite. So if this is composite, we only have to. What is the definition of composite? I don't know if Professor told you about that, but the definition of composite is when you see, this is composite, when you see f, for example, f, and then composite g. In this case, this is g. This is the same as says f, g, and then, so that means that you will block, instead of x for f, you will block the whole equation. When you see x in the equation, in the original equation, which is the f, which is fair, will be the original equation. So f here will be like this, and then here the equation for f is minus 2, and then instead of f, you will block the whole equation here, which is g of x. So let me see, which is g of x, and you block the equation inside, instead of x, the whole equation. I will write it in red. 2 plus 5x plus 6, and then continue with the equation, the original equation. What says the original equation? The original equation says plus 3 here. So this is the thing. Now they are giving you minus 2. I was thinking at the beginning that it was like a multiplication, but when you see this is a O, like a kind of O, this is composite. This means composite, and composite is this definition right here. So since I got this definition, I just need to, first I will multiply the 2 by each term inside the parentheses. And we continue here. 2 times minus 8, x squared will be minus 16 x squared, and then plus 5 times minus 2x will be, here we will need plus now, because as I'm multiplying minus times positive, yeah, we got minus. So we will minus, and at the beginning, so we will positive because I'm multiplying minus 2 times minus 8 minus times minus will be positive. We will be positive 16 x squared, and then minus 2 times positive 5 will be minus 10 x. And then at the end, minus 2 times positive 6 will be minus 12. And then plus 3, the 3 which is outside, this 3. I will continue, I will combine like terms, number with numbers, and letter with letter, variable with variable, where it says. So when I combine here, we got 16 x squared, right, minus 10 x, and then minus 12 plus 3, this is a subtraction, right, because different sign will be minus 9. I will keep the sign of the greater one. Since I have this equation and I have the value for x, which is minus 2, they give us the value. So I just need to plot the value here. It will be 16 here. I will leave the empty space for the x, minus 10, empty space for the x, minus 9, and the x, as you know, is in the top, minus 2. I will continue here. When I says first order operation, power is first. It will be 16 times minus 2 to the power of 2. This will be 4. And remember, when you looking for the power of 2, for the square of the negative number, it will be positive. So it will be positive 4 minus 10 times minus 2. How much is this? It will be first minus 20, right? Don't forget about the minus, because now you have two minus. Minus 20, and then minus 9. Then I will continue here. 16 times 4. How much is this? 16 times 4. Use calculator. This is 64. 64. Then minus and minus here will be positive. Plus 10, plus 20. Sorry, minus 9. So let me continue. I will change the color because I'm ending. 64 plus 20. This is 84. 84. And then minus 9. 84 minus 9. How much is this? 84 minus 9. 75. So this is my answer. 75. Right here. And sorry for the confusion, because at the beginning I was thinking this was a multiplication, f times g, but there was no multiplication. Was the composite of x, composite of g. So, and this is the equation for this. So when you have the equation, this is the answer. Those are steps. Follow the step. Let me continue here. Question number 8. Question number 8. is it says sorry, determine whether the equation defines y as a function of x. This is the same kind of equation we did at the beginning, but here is something different, because here you first have to solve for y to be able to say that y is a function of x. For every number you plug in x to give you only one number, one result for y. So, but first you need to solve for y first. Let me solve for y and you will see this is not difficult. So I have here the equation. I will rewrite the equation, the original equation. So this will be equal, I'm looking for y, right? I used to plug the variable that I'm looking for in the left side. This is optional to you, but I used to do it like this. When you just change I'm just rearranging the equation. I'm not changing nothing. As I'm not changing nothing, I don't have to change any sign or whatever. This is the same equation. This is my way to put the y, the variable I'm looking for, in the left. That's easier for me. So now I need to take out this 4 first to move this 4, and to be able to move this 4, I don't want this positive 4 in the left side. So to cancel this positive 4, I will subtract 4 here, but if I subtract 4 in one side, I need to do it in the other side. I will do the same in both sides. If I do something in one side, I need to do it in the other side. So here I will cancel positive 4 with negative 4, right? Because positive 4 minus 4 will be 0, nothing. So I will remain with y squared is equal to x. Here in this side I have minus 4 now, because I subtract minus 4. So since I have this, now I need to take out this square, to move this square, or I don't want this square in y. So I need to do the same opposite operation in both sides. When I do the same opposite operation in both sides, which is square root, right? That's the opposite operation of the power of 2. So now I'm able to cancel the square root with the 2, and I will remain with this. But remember, when you take the square root of something, it's one positive and one negative. And this is the thing here, one positive and one negative. So I will remain with y, alone as I want the y, positive, negative, square root of x minus 4. Since I have this, I'm saying that I have positive and negative. When I have a positive and negative, this means that I will have two values for y, y1 and y2, where the y1 is with positive, let me say with positive, and the y2 will be, for example, with negative. X, sorry, negative. So this means that this is y in this case is not a function of x. I cannot define y as a function of x, because to be able to define y as a function of x, I need only one value of y. There are two values of y for some x value, so not a function. No, this is the answer. No. Here you can see something so similar. Question number 9. But here you don't have to solve nothing, right? Because you have your y in one side alone. When you have the y alone in one side, you don't have to solve nothing because you're looking for y as a function of x, and y is already solved. So since you have this, you can say, if you think like fast, you can say, oh, this is the same, this is not a function, but take care, because here there is no 2 sign in front of the square root. This is a function of x, because here it is not 2 sign. It's only 1 sign, which is the positive. This is the same as positive square root of 3. So that means that this is a function. If there is only one output y for every input x, then it is a function. The imagine that here, you can see in the graph that this is valid because this is only 1 signs in front, meaning that is only just 1 answer. When there is 1 answer, yes, this is a function. And the last question says find the domain. Here is the same as the beginning. Find the domain. This is composite. You see? Composite. So composite means this is the same as f, remember, parentheses, g, which is first. In this case, the f will be which is outside the parentheses, and the g will be the composite. Then g of x, and they give you the 2 equations. What are the 2 equations? The 2 equations are here. First one and then the second one. So that means that you need f g. In this case, you need to plug g inside all the x in the f equation. What is the f equation? This one. And here is the x, but there is only a x, so I will leave the empty space. Instead of x, I will write the g, the equation of g. That's the composite meaning. The equation of g is 3x plus 18. Right? So since you have that, you only remember domain. They are asking for a domain. Domain is in the x axis. So when you have a square root, you don't want a negative number on the square root. So there was a question similar to this. You need to set this all the thing inside or under the square root, which is x, 3x plus 18. Set this greater than 0, because if you have something less than 0, will be negative, and you don't want negative. All thing less than 0 is negative, and you don't want negative. So that's the reason why you can say solve for the equation. You solve for the equation. When you solving, you can see that x, I have positive here. I will, if I have positive 18, I don't want the positive 18 that side, so I will subtract 18 here and 18 here in both sides. So here I will cancel, and the other side I will leave it like negative 18. So now I need the x alone. I have 3 multiplying. I have 3 multiplying with the x. If I don't want these 3 multiplying with the x, remember, you just have to divide by 3. Divide by 3 in both sides. When you divide 3 by 3, how much is this? 1. And 1 in front of the x, you don't have to mark it. And here, the same. Divided by 3. 18 minus 18 divided by 3. This is equal to what? X alone now, because there is a 1 in front of the x, so you don't have to mark it. X alone is equal to minus 18 divided by 3. This is minus 6. When you're dividing negative onto divided by positive, you got negative 6. So that's why it's negative 6. So the answer for this is minus 6. So we finish for today. And please remember to reply this email, please, saying you see the video. Some students, I saw that some students see the past video, but they don't let me know. I need you now, let me know for this video. And if you forget to let me know for the past video, please leave it this in the email. You can write, I see this video and also I see the past video, because I need this to be able to plot your attendance. Thank you so much, guys. Let me do a little review. So that was the topic for today. Find the domain. Domain also is in the x axis. So when you have the equation like this, you just plug value for x and you will be able to find the value for y. And with those coordinate points, make the graph, and with the graph you will be able to see the domain. Then determine whether the equation defined as a function of x, this was like this, the last question. You plug some value, you will see that if there is no stop, or if there is only one value, yes, for the y, it will be a function of x. And you can make some example. Here is 3 examples. Then find the domain of the function. Domain, remember, when you have a square root, remember you cannot have a negative number under the square root. That's the reason there will be a stop. All the number in this case were less or equal than 4 onto the infinity, negative infinity, sorry. So remember to set that all the thing under the square root equal or greater than 0, because you don't want negative, and less than 0 will be negative. Use the vertical line test. This is easy. Use a vertical line test, a vertical line, and when touch only one line, this is a function. If touch more than one line, it's not a function. So here it was touching 3 points, so it was not a function. Then find the interval over which the function is increasing, decreasing, or constant. Remember, increasing, going up, up and up, decreasing, going down, down and down. This is all those graphs are reading from left to right. And if constant, that means that there is no slope. It will be a horizontal line. That means constant. That's not the case, but just to know. Then determine whether a given function is even or neither. Even or neither, remember, even plug a negative x instead of the positive x. Instead of the x, plug a negative x. If you got the positive equation, this is even. If you have a negative equation at the end, this is odd. Evaluate evaluate the expression. This is just composites, remember. This is a little O between the F and G. The F is first, as the F is first, it will be this kind of equation. F composite G, which is equal to F, and then parenthesis G of X. And then you plug all the value, all the equation of G inside the X from the first equation, which is the F. Then determine whatever the equation, define Y as a function of X. Same, but here you need first to solve for Y because you don't have here Y is not solved. So since you solve Y, you see you got one positive answer and one negative answer. That means there is two answers. Since you have two answers, there is no a function of X. Then determine whatever the equation define, whether the equation define Y as a function of X. Same kind of equation, but here the Y is solved and there is only one answer because they are not giving you a positive and a negative answer. So if you have only one answer, this will be a function. This is a function because only one answer, there is only a positive sign in front of the square root. And then the last question is again composite, and you have the value here, but here they're asking for the domain. The domain is in the x-axis. First do the equation for the domain, then solve if you need to solve. Since you have the equation, remember here you got the square root. When you have a square root, you don't need a negative number under the square root. Since you don't need a negative number, you need to set all the things under the equation, under the square root, equal or greater than 0, and then solve as a simple equation. When you solve for x, here was a problem because I said like was not equal. It should be greater or equal than -6. Greater or equal -6. I forget the sign here because we were working with greater or equal. I cannot change it. Greater or equal. So this is the answer. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.